The New York City subway. It's crowded, it's dirty, it's hot, and it's one of the most dynamic and exciting places in the world. Hi, I'm Michael Wetzer, and I've been an architect in New York City for over 35 years, and I've been riding the subway for over 40 years. Today we're going to look at the architectural details in the oldest and newest subway stations in New York. First up, let's talk about one of the oldest subway stations, City Hall. When the subway opened in 1904, the City Hall station was one of the first of the 28 stations. It was the showpiece of the entire system. They created these grand vaults, almost like a cathedral, with these beautiful Romanesque arches that follow along the curve of the station. So each one of these vaults is made out of tile, which is actually a terracotta tile that is structural, and it's a system of layers, and they're usually put in a herringbone pattern, and they alternated the colors. The Boston tile is actually used in many places throughout New York City. One example is the Oyster Bar in Grand Central Station. Another example is the underside of the Queensboro Bridge. And the City Hall stop was so unique as the showpiece that not only did it have skylights, but it also had these beautiful brass chandeliers to give light underneath in a very decorated manner. So the City Hall station was closed down in 1945 because of this tight curve. The new longer trains couldn't make the turn. All the IRT subway stations were designed by Hines and Lafarge, and obviously here at City Hall they created quite a masterpiece. But the typical station is much less ornate, and it's really stripped down, and it's much more about function and operation than it is about beauty. Okay, let's talk about a typical IRT subway station. So this image shows a 14th Street Express station when it first opened in 2017. What made New York City's subway system unique from other cities was that when they first built it, they included express tracks as well. No other city had that. And you can see the express track running beyond on the other side of this column right here, where the local goes into the station. Typically, you'd go down less than 18 feet to get to the platform, and then the tracks would be about 3 feet below that. Because they're so close to the surface, and the way that they get fresh air from the sidewalk above, is you could actually hear the subway coming when you're walking along the sidewalk above. And the thing about these IRT stations is that they're extremely simple, and they're all about just getting it done and getting it done quickly. So the way they built these stations was by a method called cut and cover. They cut a trench in the middle of the street, less than 20 feet deep. So this is basically a cross-section through the subway tunnel. The train would ride in here, and through it. This would be the express track. The express track going in the opposite direction, and this again would be the local track here with another train. And then above, they would put in these columns, they would build the walls, they would lay down the track, and then above this tunnel, they would put in all the utilities, so the sewer lines, the water lines, the electrical lines that the city needs to run, and then on top of that, they would put the road. So here's where the building is, that's where the building is, here's the sidewalk, and then here's the road. So let's take a look at the 96th Street station along the 2nd Avenue line. And what distinguishes this station from one of the typical IRT stations that we just looked at is that there's no columns in it. Because it's tunneled, it's sort of self-supporting and forms this one continuous vault. This was the city's first major subway expansion in over 50 years. It extended the queue line along 2nd Avenue to 4 different stations: 63rd Street, 72nd Street, 86th Street, and 96th Street. So this is how they dug out the 2nd Avenue tunnel. So if the street is here, I'm using the buildings. What they did is they went really deep and they tunneled all the way down here with giant drills and giant drill bits, which they actually leave at the end of the tunnel. They don't take it out. So it's still down there. And when they extend the 2nd Avenue subway up to 125th Street, they'll keep that same drill bit and it'll stay down at the northern end of the 125th. What distinguishes the 2nd Avenue subway from the other stations is that the platform is in the middle and the tracks are at the edge. And then there's the mezzanine where people walk up here and up here, and it's open to the curved ceiling of what was the tunnel. So a person standing here can look down to the platform there, and then the stairs that distinguishes the New York City subway is it's super loud because it doesn't run on rubber wheels like a lot of other cities subway lines do. And Second Avenue, they made a determined effort to make it a lot quieter, and they included these acoustic panels which would absorb a lot of sound. So the Second Avenue subway is much more humanistic. It's much brighter. It's much more open. It's not as dark. It's not as dingy as a lot of the other original subway stations are. So let's step back for a second and talk about the history of the subways. What prompted the subway to begin with?